I've had enough of the other days that aren't good, that I'm damn well going to enjoy the morning skate on a day like today. I refuse not to be in a good mood. If you can enjoy this morning, what the hell are you doing? Like, what's the point of this then, right? We want to enjoy it. I want to enjoy it too. I'm not playing tonight, right? Like, I really don't do that much back there. So players will be wound up.
Well, it is a good day to have a good day, Panther fans. Mike Cugno alongside Steve Goldstein. Hunt for the Cup pregame show back at Rogers Place here in Edmonton for Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Final. Of course, Goldie, the Florida Panthers have a 3-0 series lead. You can start to feel the tension already in the building. Even here, they're going through, the ceremonial practices of something that could happen at the end of this evening. Goldie, we were at practice this morning, or morning skate. What do you think of the guys? How do you think they looked?
Yeah, they were really focused. Talking to a few of them in the locker room before the game. Maybe they were trying to not think about the fact that they could win a Stanley Cup tonight, a lifelong dream for all these guys. I can tell you this, even for me who does nothing, it was a strange walk over to the rink. I walked to rinks a million times, thousands of times, literally over the last 25, 30 years. It's kind of strange. So I thought they were very calm, very focused, trying to keep it like it's any other day. We'll see it puck drop. I still believe, like I thought Game 1, Mike, if there are any nerves to start this game, you need a few big saves. They get out of that first period. If this game is either tied or within a goal, I think they settle in. It becomes just any other hockey game.
I talked to Brandon Montour in there, and I asked him what's the toughest part of these clinching games. Because the Panthers have had struggling moments in these situations, and he says it's basically the desperation that everyone has on their first shifts, the opponent anyway. You're going to have to get everyone's best, especially in that first period. So got to get out to a quick start. Don't let them get in that first, I think. But let's go back to the Panthers for a second. Aleksander Barkov, we've been joking who's the Conn Smythe winner. We've been going back and forth on this one. But could you just talk about the series the captain has had and how important he is in a game in a moment like this?
Well, totally remarkable because he's the best center in the series. You got Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl on the other side. And by the way, Sam Bennett might be the second best center in the series, or close to McDavid anyway. Barkov just never cheats the game. He's the best defensive forward in hockey. He won the Selke Trophy as that best defensive forward. And he does what's needed. But then when the opportunity is there, he provides the offense as well as he did in game number 3. Great play setting up the first goal, able to finish up the fourth goal, which ended up being the game winner. Most of his goals during the playoffs have been game-winning goals. Aleksander Barkov, literally, has grown up in South Florida. He arrived when he was 17 years old, 11 years ago. They gave him the captaincy at a pretty young age. Maybe he thought he had to change the way his demeanor is because he's a pretty quiet guy. And once Paul Maurice came in, I think there was a change there. And I think when Matthew Tkachuk came in, Tkachuk does a lot of that stuff as far as the talking. Aleksander Barkov just plays his game and leads in his own way by example. Nobody works harder. And nobody is better at the little details of the game than Aleksander Barkov. And I'd be very happy for him if he can finish it up, captain a Stanley Cup team. He'd also be the first Finnish-born player ever to be a captain of a Stanley Cup champ.
Also on his P's and Q's in this series, Sergei Bobrovsky, obviously. We know what he does physically in net, but mentally, what kind of help and what kind of lift does he give this team?
Well, they know they have the confidence in him back there, and when he makes those big saves, especially on guys like Draisaitl and McDavid, it lifts everybody up. And by the way, we've seen this throughout the playoffs. Tampa Bay had the unstoppable power play in the first round. Stamkos got some goals, but Braden Point and Kucherov was shut down, and then he shuts down David Pastrnak, then he shuts down Panarin, his good buddy, and Zibanejad and Kreider, and now he's doing it to McDavid and Draisaitl. It permeates throughout the whole team. It gives the bench a lift, and they know. They just become that much more confident. The chest puffs out a little bit more when you know you have, right now, the best goaltender, not only in the series, but in the NHL, even though the other guys aren't playing, behind you.
The best goalie on the ice. We've seen what he can do to opponents, how he can demoralize them. But let's hear what his teammates like Matthew Tkachuk have to say about Bob when he's in net and on his game.
As the stakes get higher, he gets more calm, more poised, more focused. He really settles us all down. He's been a huge part of that all year, and he's been playing unbelievable for us right now. And we're trying to block as many shots and clear the lane out as much as possible. But if there's a breakdown, he's there for us. So Yeah, it's just his calmness for me. That's what separates him from any other goalie I've ever seen, and how focused and his work ethic. I mean, his workouts are incredible. Everything he does outside of the rink is, preparing him for what he's going to do when that game starts. That's working.
Goldie, Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl have not been able to figure out Bob. 0 goals in this series. If I told you by Game 4 those two didn't have a single goal, what would you say?
I'd say the Panthers would be up 3-0, maybe outscoring Edmonton 11-4, because that's what's going on. But shocking, 100%. These guys not only are great players, they were putting up historic playoff numbers. Leon Draisaitl had a 13-game point streak to start the playoffs. McDavid was flirting if he had a big series, and he still could, by the way. But if he had a big series, he could have the most points in a playoff series or close to it in the history of the NHL. But Bobrovsky has been there time and time again. And overall, I think the Panthers done a good job limiting, for the most part, the high danger chances against these guys. And it's not just one guy. It's a 5-man unit. It's a cliche to say it.
Yeah.
But the Panthers, they really have executed it well. If one man's on McDavid, he gets by him. There's another guy there for the support. Quick sticks both ways. And offensive players, and this goes for any sport. You get an offensive player that's used to having things be fairly easy and putting up gaudy numbers, and they don't. They get frustrated. And I do believe, Mike, it's affected the overall game. Take the first goal of the game here in the 4-on-4 the other night.
Yep.
Aleksander Barkov beats McDavid down the ice. McDavid's kind of lost on that goal, and then Forsling finds Reinhart in front. So the Panther centers, incredibly, are outplaying the Edmonton centers.
So the Panther stars are rising to the occasion, but also the quote-unquote role players, but these guys who are contributing all playoff long. You talk about Evan Rodriguez, Sam Bennett, who you said might be the second best center in this series. Even Matthew Tkachuk, some of the things he's been able to do, get under guys' skin. What do you attribute the success to those guys having in this series?
Well, they're that good.
Yeah.
They may be underlying players. They may not be Barkov, Reinhart on this team, but on most teams, Sam Bennett, Matthew Tkachuk, Carter Verhaeghe is a #1 line.
Yeah.
Like, you got two guys that have scored 40 goals and a guy that's amazing in the playoffs. But the real key to me has been that third line. Anton Lundell is playing outrageous hockey right now, setting up goals, doing it defensively. And Vlad Tarasenko, kind of under the radar. He's got a goal in each series. And it's funny, before the playoffs, Paul Maurice said that if he gets one every series, we're good. But he's a big body. That line produced that second goal of the game. Lundell has set up numerous goals. And Eetu Luostarinen may be, forget about the whole controversy, is Connor McDavid overrated?
Yeah.
Eetu Luostarinen is the most underrated player, certainly in the series. Big minutes, Mike, doing it defensively, doing it on that penalty kill, which is perfect, 10 for 10. Luostarinen is a huge factor on this Panther team. And remember, he was hurt in the Cup Final.
I was going to say, they missed him against Vegas last year. Now, obviously, a Cup for the Panthers would mean a lot for a lot of people, the organization. Goldie, for you, you've seen this team grow up, the franchise grow up here in South Florida. But Dmitry Kulikov, on his second act with the Florida Panthers, you got to catch up with him this morning in the locker room. Let's hear what he had to say.
Enjoyed it for a little bit, and had time to do some team bonding, recovery and things like that yesterday, and this morning just waking up excited. That's all.
What does it mean to you? I know it's not done yet, but drafted by the Panthers, obviously gone for a number of years, and now you come back and you got a shot at it.
Yeah, we put ourselves in a great position, playing some good defensive hockey. Everybody's contributing. For me personally, it's great, being with the Panthers again and having a chance like that. And like I said, we put ourselves in a great position.
Let's keep the chat talking about the defensive unit for the Panthers, and let's start with that top pair. When you talk about Forsling and Ekblad, you don't want to say they've been mistake-free, but nothing jumps out to you that they've done in this series that you think, uh-oh, something's gone wrong here.
They have been amazing, going against top lines throughout the playoffs. And remember, all of these teams, including the Edmonton Oilers, all have huge MVP candidates. I mean, Kucherov for the Lightning, and Pasternak for the Bruins, and Panarin for the Rangers, and now McDavid and Draisaitl and Forsling and Ekblad have been on the ice against all of them. They have both been fantastic. Gustav Forsling is a +15 in the playoffs in 20 games after +56 in the regular season. And I'll tell you what Aaron Ekblad did at the end of game number 3. I'm looking up at the clock. That puck is in the corner to Bobrovsky's left. They're up a goal. And there's still 30 seconds left. And Ekblad, Mike, is pinning it to the wall.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, 30 seconds, that's too long.
Yeah.
And suddenly it goes to 20, end of 15. Incredible effort. Aaron Ekblad, 10-year veteran, and anytime he speaks, it is just serious focus. This guy has a burning desire to win the Stanley Cup, and he needs one more win.
Is there a coach in the league you'd want more right now in that seat on the bench than Paul Maurice? We got to hear him today. He's kind of towing that line between enjoying the moment and trying to stay in their lane, stay compartmentalized in the task at hand.
Now, I tell you, right around now, that was this morning. We're 2 hours from face-off. I don't think he's doing that, enjoying the moment and not doing much.
Right.
No, you wouldn't, because Paul Maurice just has all of that experience, you know, ups and downs. He was a guy that, you know, had to go to Russia and coach for a year, and it was when the AHL and the minors, and thought he was done when he left Winnipeg, and then he ends up in South Florida, and he also has the experience of coaching in the Cup Final last year. So to answer your question, no. Paul Maurice is the perfect guy, even though he claims all he's doing is standing in a suit behind the bench and not doing much. Forget about that. You wouldn't want anybody else behind that bench tonight.
Pretty humble guy for sure. Panther fans, if they win tonight, for anything we know about South Florida fans, they won't be humble about this. They're going to celebrate like crazy. There are some in the building here in Edmonton, but man, the scene that we saw at Amerant Bank for Game 3, packing that building, Panther fans, it didn't go unnoticed by the guys here wearing Panther jerseys. Here's Aaron Ekblad this morning showing a little love to you.
Yeah, that was really cool. I didn't see that until we were at the hotel after the game there the other night, that the whole lower bowl was full. So that was, you know, really cool. To see how far it's come full circle since I've gotten here has been incredible. So we're super proud to be playing in front of our fans.
All right, Goldie, I'm starting to get chills. I don't know if it's the AC in here because it is pretty cold, but just hearing these guys talk about, you know, what it might mean to them to win a cup. Tonight, I think the last question is for this show, which could be our last show, by the way. This has been a lot of fun, is, Goldie, do they get it done tonight?
You know, yesterday we spoke on our show Game Change, and I thought, you know, Edmonton's going to win a game. I always thought Panthers in 5, as I think you did before the series. But being around these guys today, I'm thinking they may just wrap it up here tonight, especially they survived the start of the game.
Yeah.
And what a journey. 205th game for this team over the last 2 years. If they win tonight, they will have won 80 games since the middle of the first round last year in the playoffs when they trailed Boston 3-1. I do think they get it done. Why doubt them now? They're 15-5 in the playoffs. They're amazing on the road. They've only lost twice. But again, I do think the start of the game tonight will be a big factor.
28 wins over the last 2 postseasons. Number 29 might be the hardest, but it will be the sweetest if and when they can get it. That'll do it for Hunt for the Cup ahead of Game 4. We'll see if we're celebrating with the Stanley Cup on the ice later tonight. Goldie, if this is it, thank you so much for all your expertise all season long. There is no one better than this guy right here. I can't tell you how many people I hear from out of the market that tell me this guy is one of my favorite NHL play-by-play guys.
Back at you, Michael.
Yeah, so you're the best, and of course we will have all your coverage tonight on CBS News Miami at 11 once this game wraps up. And who knows, maybe me and Goldie are out there getting interviews with the guys after they win and hold that cup above their heads. Thanks for joining us here on Hunt for the Cup. We hope this is the last one.
Hunt for the Cup on CBS News Miami is sponsored by your Volkswagen dealers of South Florida. Check out local offers at VWFlorida.com.